shelfers. It is almost like a game with us whiskey nerds, trying to find 20, 40, maybe even a little bit more expensive, commonly available product that can compete with some of the big boy allocated stuff that, if it were ever found at true MSRP, would be similar priced. And so today for 2 Minute Tuesday, we are going to do a kind of new version. When anytime we do a shelf product, we're going to play Zero or Hero. So based on our scoring, we'll do the normal 2 Minute Tuesday stuff, right? All of our notes in 2 minutes or less, including an overall score. But a little additive at the end, once we're done doing all those notes, is we're going to ask ourselves with the shelfer in question whether or not it is a zero or a hero. With a zero being something that you should probably never buy, or is only really good for mixed drinks, or if it's a hero, something that might not compete with the big boy allocated stuff, but certainly punches above its price point, and being commonly available makes it something that's worth having on the regular to enjoy as something that is truly better than just a mere shelfer. For this first edition of Zero or Hero on 2 Minute Tuesday, we're going to be exploring a Willet product. And I know what you're thinking, please not the genie bottle, please not pot still. And you're correct, not pot still. I actually like a couple of Willet products. I have 2 of them over here. Noah's Mill and Old Bardstown Bottle and Bond. But since I live in the Seattle area and Old Bardstown Bottle and Bond is Kentucky only, I basically can never get that. A friend of mine brought it back from Kentucky for me. So instead we're going to go with a different product that when I was in Kentucky and did a tour of Willet was one of the ones I liked quite a lot, and that is Johnny Drum. Between then and now, Johnny Drum has changed a little bit, which is to say Johnny Drum used to be source juice, and the most common rumor was that it was Heaven Hill sourced product. Heaven Hill makes great stuff, so it's no wonder that when I tried this in the past, I liked it quite a lot, and what is usually about a $35 to $40 bottle, it punched way above its weight. But from what I've heard, in the last 2 years or so, Johnny Drum has become exclusively Willet distillate. So, some of the things that are worth noting, it is a Kentucky bourbon, and it is 50.5% alcohol or 101 proof. It is not age stated. You know, there's all sorts of usual marketing. My corgi. There's all sorts of usual marketing stuff like private stock across the label and things to try and make it a little more interesting. But let's see how this thing does in a 2 Minute Tuesday. Start the clock. Okay, right away color. This tells me right away it's kind of young. Just looking at the color, because it kind of looks like you're really dehydrated and you had to use the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? It's like some dark pea. Nose. Interesting. It's definitely not like super ethanol-y, which the 101 proof would help if you're a regular whiskey drinker. It's not going to really punch you in the face. There's kind of a little bit of a citrus thing, but there is something a little astringent that despite not having like a big ethanol punch, I get a little like citrusy, kind of a mix of like lemon and orange, but then it right after that hits you with kind of something like paint thinner. Let's see what it tastes like. Whoa. Power through, Bentley. So I do get a little bit of a kind of citrusy note up front, but then immediately there is this very youthful, grainy. Normally you would think of this with craft, but most craft whiskeys aren't astringent. It really does kind of have a paint thinnery kind of thing. I grew up in a hot rod shop, so I'm used to paint thinner. And then on the back end, at least like it's in the middle. The back end turns into this like kind of hot cinnamon candy thing. You know what I'm talking about, like little red hots, right? It's very, very cinnamony with that cinnamon, that pepper. That this is not a Kentucky hug. This is like an aggressive Kentucky punch. And not in a nice way, not in like that high proof kind of way where you're like big flavor. This is just, it's not very, it's definitely not like got a lot of oak influence. It really doesn't have too much sweetness to it. Oh, yeah, Lord, that astringent note hits hard. And then it does kind of turn into like cinnamon candies on the way down, which if you really like cinnamon candies, maybe that's a thing for you. Oh, okay. I don't think I need to go too far. I don't even know we're going to need 2 minutes. Hold on, viscosity. It doesn't sit on the palate too long. I mean, the cinnamonness kind of does, and you can kind of see some reasonable legs, but they're definitely pretty spread out, and they're dripping down kind of fast, so it's definitely a little thinner. That astringent note into those like hot cinnamon candies. I'm not a hot cinnamon guy. This is terrible on my palate. Overall score, yeah, for the vaguely citrusy and hot cinnamon candy paint thinner, 32. This is not good whiskey. This makes me really sad because when I was in Kentucky a few years back, I remember having, during the tour, I had Johnny Drum, I had the Old Bardstown Bottle and Bond, I had the Noah's Mill. That's why I have these two bottles. I bought the Noah's Mill because I tried it there and I liked it a lot. And I have I think this is like the second bottle I've owned, and I like it. Every once in a while I like going to it. It's a nice kind of more savory pour. And then the old Bardstown Bourbon is significantly better than this. I took this. I know it's not a lot of it's missing, but a friend of mine who brought this to me, I immediately took it to a share, and everybody had kind of like a tiny taster pour, because it's a $20 shelfer in Kentucky. It's dirt cheap, but it drinks way above that. I mean, we're not going to talk about, it's not like drinking like a Weller or, a Stag or something like that, but compared to its $20 price tag, it drinks a lot better. This, I got this at Costco, and I think it cost me $35 plus tax, and it's not worth that. I don't even know that this is worth $20 like the old Bardstown is. It's young, it's acrid. Definite zero. This I feel like that should be obvious. This is not a shelf hero. This is an avoid at all costs. And that makes me kind of sad, because the last time I had Johnny Drum, I remember liking it a lot. And this is bad, because like Willet Pot Still has kind of a notorious reputation of not being good at all. And this is very similar. I had a tiny amount of this earlier. I think it was a couple days ago, something like that. And I had hoped maybe it was just because it was a fresh crack and let this kind of air itself for a couple days. And also, I didn't really like rest the pour at all, where I rested this one. Still extremely acrid. Zero. Don't buy this. See this? No. Don't do it. Unless you really like hot cinnamon candy and something that's kind of abrasive and in your face, then maybe this actually is good, because you'll definitely taste this in a mixed drink, because it's got some oomph, and to me, not in a good way, but some people might like that. If you're the person who likes that, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Have you had Johnny Drum? Did you like it? Maybe you got some of the old, previously sourced juice. Have you tried the Willet distillate version? Did you have a similar experience to me? Maybe you had a different experience to me. I would love to hear in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video and me torturing myself, please, please, please give it a like. Consider sharing. It's one of the best ways to help us small whiskey tubers here on the whole YouTube thing. It convinces the algorithm this stuff is good, and maybe we should help boost it to a few other people. That's kind of the way that it makes it easy for those of us who are addicted to the brown water to pick up more and try more and do more stuff like this. So there you go. There's your 2 Minute Tuesday. I hope you've enjoyed this one. As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching, and stay awesome.